Hey XRP fam, I've got a mix of updates for you today, some great, some concerning, and one that's just plain surprising. I'm going to walk you through the 3 biggest things you need to know right now, and trust me, you'll want to stick around. This could get really interesting. Before we dive in, I've got a small favor to ask. Give me a big smile to send out those good vibes, and don't forget to tap that like button. It costs nothing and helps us reach more people. Let's aim for 3,000 likes today. I know this community can make that happen. Just take your finger, go to your phone and tap boop. If you're watching on TV, grab your remote and hit that like too. Right now, XRP is trading at $2.14, up by 0.46% for the day. We saw a sudden market spike, and in just a bit, I'll break down exactly what caused that. But first, should I start with the good news, the bad news, or the weird middle ground stuff? Let's shake things up and begin with the surprise update. Now, I think this middle news might actually be the reason we saw that market jump earlier. But first, here's the good part. Crypto is no longer being treated like a left or right issue in US politics. It's finally being seen as a technology of the future for everyone. Both Republicans and Democrats are starting to find common ground. They're backing new laws and initiatives that could turn the US into a global hub for crypto. And yes, this is one of the most encouraging signs we've seen in a while. I had a song in mind about unity while thinking about this, but it's not in English, so I'll spare you the karaoke session. But seriously, it's amazing to see bipartisan support growing for crypto regulation and innovation. That kind of government backing could be huge for the future of digital finance. And now, before we circle back to the good stuff, let's talk about something serious and kind of alarming. Reports are coming in that the tension between Pakistan and India has reached a critical point. Some sources are saying the situation may have escalated into open conflict. Let's all hope it doesn't go any further, and that peace can still be found. Quick break from the crypto talk. Any football fans here? I just watched one of the wildest Champions League matches ever. Inter Milan went head-to-head with FC Barcelona, and wow, it ended 4-3 after a last-minute goal. Barcelona was leading, then it was 3-3, and in the final moments, Inter scored again. Across 2 games, the score ended up 7-6. Total madness. And yes, Inter's heading to the final. Okay, back on track now. I didn't forget about the good news. We'll wrap things up with that, because it's always nice to end on a high note. Let's hope this situation doesn't spiral into something as serious as World War III. We're talking about 2 major nations here, both nuclear armed. For a global conflict like that to break out, you'd need major alliances stepping in to support each side. At this point, it's not totally clear how those alliances would even form. India seems to lean more toward the Western Bloc, while Pakistan may align with other geopolitical powers. So watching how these international lines are drawn will be something to keep an eye on. Right now though, this rising tension isn't having much of an impact on the financial markets. XRP is still climbing. The S&P 500 also saw a boost around the same time. So far, crypto hasn't reacted much, at least not in a way that suggests panic. But I have come across some unsettling videos online showing signs of escalating violence, and sadly it looks like lives are being lost. Let's hope things calm down before it goes any further. I know a few viewers from both India and Pakistan tune in from time to time, though not a huge number. Some of my Pakistani viewers have left pretty strong opinions in the comments before, I'm not sure why. But in all seriousness, I hope everyone out there stays safe, and that cooler heads prevail. No one wants to see this grow into something worse. Now switching gears, let's talk about why the markets actually did move today. What gave crypto that little push? Why did the market cross the road? Alright, that joke's a classic. But the real reason for this uptick is quite interesting. XRP isn't exactly breaking out, but it's creeping up. And Bitcoin has jumped past $95,000. So what's behind the green candles? It all started when US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen announced that she'll be meeting this week with China's top economic leader. That alone gave investors a reason to breathe easier. Up until now, the US and China haven't had any real dialogue. No major meetings, no back-channel talks, nothing. Both sides had basically gone silent. Meanwhile, the US has been busy negotiating deals with other countries. I caught a clip of former President Trump speaking with the Canadian Prime Minister. A reporter asked if Canada's visit meant they'd get a break from tariffs. Trump replied, "Of course not. Why should they get special treatment?" So it's clear the US is sticking to a firm stance. They want fair deals and are using their leverage to get them. And for now, the markets seem to like this approach. Investors are feeling optimistic, but we'll see how long that sentiment lasts, especially with the upcoming Fed meeting. Tomorrow could bring new surprises depending on what the central bank decides. Usually right before a Federal Reserve meeting, we see markets either climb or drop, depending on the overall mood and expectations. In recent weeks, it's been more common to see a sell-off going into Sunday, Monday or Tuesday. But interestingly, that pattern didn't show up this time. Now, when the markets rise heading into an FOMC meeting and the Fed chairman delivers a neutral or underwhelming message, we often see a quick drop afterward. On the flip side, if the market's been flat or moving sideways before the meeting, and the Fed says something encouraging, it can trigger a strong upward move. That's something worth watching right now. Speaking of signals, the S&P 500 is on the verge of crossing its 1348 exponential moving average, something that could signal a possible trend change. If that crossover happens, it could set the stage for a bigger market reaction. We'll have to see how investors respond to that in the coming days. Over in crypto, Bitcoin's been showing some strength, but outside of BTC, the rest of the market, especially altcoins, still feels sluggish. We've talked about this before. Bitcoin dominance is at the highest point in this cycle, and as long as it stays that way, altcoins will likely remain unstable and under pressure. Take SUI as an example. It had a strong rally yesterday, but today it's already pulling back. That's been the pattern for most altcoins. Quick pumps followed by just as fast corrections. They're clearly in a weak phase right now. Still, we've seen this kind of behavior before, and when altcoins finally break out, they can move very fast. I'm not saying it's going to happen today or tomorrow though. A lot depends on what comes out of the Fed meeting. Just a heads up, the FOMC meeting kicked off today and wraps up tomorrow. The big announcement, the one everyone's waiting for, is the Fed's decision and speech, scheduled for 2 p.m. time tomorrow. That's the moment markets are really going to react. Let me check the latest probability. Yep, it just updated, 98% now. Expect a certain outcome. We'll definitely revisit this topic after the announcement tomorrow. It's going to be an important 24 to 48 hours across all markets. Now let's circle back to XRP for a second. I've been tracking something interesting there. XRP still hasn't been able to break above the 1348 EMA, and that's been a sticking point. What worries me a bit is that the stochastic RSI was already very high during one of those attempts, and that usually means we're at risk of a reversal rather than a breakout. What had me a bit worried was the potential for a repeat of a previous pattern, when we saw a crossover that didn't really lead anywhere. Back then we had a downward crossover, followed by a quick upward one, and then it flipped back down again. It was a choppy, unpredictable time for the market. That period actually lined up with the implementation of tariffs, which stirred up a lot of confusion and volatility. In situations like that, the chart